Now, daily and weekly testing. Of course, going through the 7-day or 2-week study schedule, you're putting eyes on all the practice question information that's going to be pertinent to the competency statements to make sure that you're passing the examination. Now, 4 weeks out or 3 weeks out from your exam, you need to take the RX Prep MPJE practice exam. Because if you're able to score an 80 or above on that exam, then I would definitely 100% say it's time for you to schedule your MPJE examination. If you haven't already set your test date already. Now, if you already set your test date, definitely 4 weeks from the test date, take this exam, see how you score. That way you know exactly where you're at. And the great thing about this is, like I said, they break down each section based on the competency statements of how it's going to be broken down on the actual exam. That way you know you need to study more of pharmacy practice information, licensure information, processes, controlled substances. They really give you a really good explanation on the section that you need to work on. This is very important because once you're able to score above 80%, then you can go ahead and sign up for the official NABP practice exam. Now, this is very important. I would 100% say you need to take this a minimum of 2 weeks out from your scheduled MPJE testing date. Why I say this is because the practice MPJE from NABP is only 40 questions. Now, though it is a very small subset of questions, the questions that they use are very indicative of the trends that you're going to see in the actual exam. You're going to definitely see exam questions that are pertaining to the topics that you see on the practice exam. And the great thing about the practice exam is these are older exam questions that have already been on the exam before. So, after you take the 40 question subset from NABP, you're not going to have to wait at all for your score. As soon as you take it, they're going to score it and tell you how you do. If you're able to score 75% or higher, you are more than prepared to take the actual MPJE. Now, why do you take it 2 weeks out? Because you're going to look at those specific topics that they put on there and you're going to say, okay, now I know how to gauge my study even further to make sure that I'm more than prepared to take this exam. With all of the materials listed in this course, when it comes time to taking the NABP practice exam, you're pretty much guaranteed at least an 85% on the exam, honestly. The other 15%, like I said, is going to come from looking at the topics listed on the NABP practice test, because it's going to help you gauge and target exactly the trends that they're going to be using per your specific state. Each NABP practice exam is different for each state. That's why when you go to sign up for it, they ask you which state that you're testing for, because they're going to give you information directly pertaining to your state. Now, not to belabor the topic, but you kind of see where we're going with this. Understanding how they're wording the exam questions is the most important thing for passing the MPJE exam. The reason why the exam is difficult is because they word things a little funny. Some things are kind of left up to interpretation based off of part of the law, definitely seen with controlled substances. And putting your eyes on as many exam questions as you can is going to be your best weapon when it comes time for taking the actual examination. Which brings us to our next part, tips and tricks.